let us see Mahabharata written by Rajaji. This was also published by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. This is also a book in English. This is the abridged English translation of the Vyasa's Mahabharata. Actually, the real author of Mahabharata, the person who dictated Mahabharata was Veda Vyasa, and the person who wrote it was Lord Vigneshwara himself. That is the Sanskrit version, that is the original one, that is known as the Itihasa, that is the history, and that has been translated into English for our convenience by the great Chakravarti Rajagopalachari ji. It is said by elders that Mahabharata is such a great epic. It is such a huge epic. It is said that what is not in it is nowhere. That means Mahabharata is an epic that consists of everything. It consists of everything. We could say that this is one of the most noblest heritages of our Indian culture, our Indian history. Actually, the Rajaji's Mahabharata, that is the book that has been displayed on the screen, has 106 chapters. So actually, I could say that the titles for the chapters are also very good. This is not like Ramayana. In Ramayana, if you see, everything went in a sequence. Whereas in Mahabharata, it is not very easy to go in such a sequence, because for every situation there are some deviations, there are some short stories, there are some explanations to be given so that the story, entire Mahabharata, could be understood well. So Rajaji had taken good measures so that to make us understand very well. We could say that it is a very good brief and good record created by Rajaji. Here what has he done is, he has taken person by person. First he explains about Bhishma, then Vidura, then he explains about Kunti, then he goes character by character, and then after that he slowly starts off the story from the wax palace, and he goes on. Especially we could say that he has explained the Bhagavad Gita for 3 chapters, and I could say that that is the most important part of Mahabharata, because if you study those 3 chapters and implement it in your life, at least 70 to 80%, you could lead a very successful life. So those 3 chapters in which Krishna has preached Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, that has been compiled by Rajaji in a very good manner, a very understandable manner, I could say. It is not going to be very difficult, and it is not going to be very scholarly, but it is going to be understood by everybody. We could say that, since Rajaji was a statesman, he was a philosopher by himself. He has included lots of philosophy of life, lots of insights of dharma at the end of each chapter. Like when he says about Yudhishthira, he says about his qualities. When he says about Duryodhana, he says about his qualities at the end. And he also says what are the qualities that we have to imbibe from Yudhishthira, what are the qualities we should not imbibe from Duryodhana, what are the qualities we have to imbibe from Kunti, what are the qualities we have to not imbibe from Gandhari. He makes a list and gives it to us so that we could implement at least 70 to 80% in our life, and we could make our life fruitful. I could say that no, the chapters, there are 106 chapters, but the chapters are going to be very short and crisp. He has included almost everything. We could say we could get a brief insight about Mahabharata. Mahabharata is such a great epic, and as mentioned before, I had said what is not in it is nowhere. That is, it consists of everything. It consists of art, it consists of architecture, it consists of politics, it consists of family welfare, it consists of culture, religion, and whatnot. It consists of literature, everything it consists. Ramayana depicts the ideal case, Mahabharata depicts the real case. Ideal behavior is going to be depicted by Ramayana, whereas real behavior, real nature, real characteristics are depicted by Mahabharata. Rajaji himself tells in the preface, he just says one sentence. The characters in this epic are more real life. They imbibe the vitality of the real life. That is, they are not the ideal case. And I could say that no, even though the language is going to be very simple and basic, and so that the youngsters and youth and children could understand the epic, we could say that Rajaji has created a masterpiece. We could say that it is indeed a literary treat given to those people who love the language of English. For example, let me take some explanations. He has taken one word or two word descriptions about the characters. Let me just explain some characters he has taken. Actually, these are separate chapters. I have taken the first 2 or 3 descriptions he has given about the particular character in the different chapters. For example, for Bhishma, he says the perfect knight. He is the perfect knight. we could not say that he is a perfect person. Coming to Ramayana, you can say Rama is a perfect person. But coming to Mahabharata, you cannot say any character is a perfect person. You could just highlight their quality and say that they are perfect in it. Of course, they have some drawbacks. So today's human beings, that is we ourselves, we are also not perfect in any way. We are not, in the case of Ramayana, we have to say that we are also having the case of Mahabharata in our own lives. That is, even elders used to say that what has happened in our own life has would have happened even in Mahabharata, would have somewhere occurred in Mahabharata, and that is why many elders, while giving advice to us, they quote from the Mahabharata, they say examples from the Mahabharata, because Mahabharata consists of everything. For example, Drona as the most Dronacharya, the guru of all the Pandavas and Kauravas, he says him as the most venerable and the most respectable person. That's it. He says Karna as he is chivalrous and he is a good giver, Nankodai, Maviran, but he is vain. He chose the wrong side at the wrong time. That was because of his own fate. Duryodhana, we could say that he was a very strong warrior, but due to his own pride and arrogance, he was lost. He just fell to the dust. He was made with the dust. Pandavas were very high-souled people. Draupadi, the most important character, Panchali, Draupadi, Krishna. She is also known as Krishna because she was born a little darkish color. She is described as the most unfortunate queen. Really, she is the most unfortunate queen, and many unfortunate things have occurred in her life right from the beginning until the end. Kunti, she is said to be the worthy mother. Of course, it is said that virtuous mothers have virtuous sons. Worthy mothers have worthy sons. Similarly, Kunti, being a worthy mother, has 5 worthy sons. Even though only 3 were born to her, she considered even the other 2 as her own children. Gandhari, we could say her as a devoted wife who remained devoted always to her husband Dhritarashtra, but she was an unfortunate mother. Even though she had blindfolded herself physically, I could say that she and Dhritarashtra, even Dhritarashtra was blind physically. We could say that both of them were blind even mentally and emotionally. Even when their children, all the 100 people, when they made mistakes upon mistakes, they never went to correct them. They were just encouraging them. That is why they met this fate, this destiny. If they had corrected before, then things would have been better. So that is a lesson for today. That we could say that is a lesson we have to imbibe, and we have to correct our younger generations so that they don't make mistakes upon mistakes and they don't end up in failure. We could say Rajaji has explained about Krishna as the most energetic of men. Of course, when anybody called Krishna, he just came there and he helped everybody. He was a part of the Mahabharata. Because actually, even elders used to say that once Vedavyasa, so actually Vedavyasa is the composer of Mahabharata. Once Vedavyasa finished Mahabharata, when he finished narrating Mahabharata and Lord Vinayaka finished writing Mahabharata, he felt that it is something incomplete. Then Narada had come to Vedavyasa and asked, "Why you are feeling like this? Such a big epic you have written such a big epic. What is the problem with you? Why are you feeling that you have not done something good?" Then Vedavyasa says, "I have written about everybody. I just kept Krishna as a part, as a part time, just as another character. I didn't focus upon Krishna more." So that is why Narada initiates Vedavyasa to take upon another project and write upon the Bhagavata Purana that majorly focuses upon the life of Vishnu and that of Krishna, as well as the other avatars of Vishnu. So mainly it focuses upon Krishna as well as it focuses upon the other avatars of Vishnu. It also focuses upon the various devotees' life, how the devotees' life have been made better, made good, made virtuous by the God's devotion. Well, he says, Rajaji has mentioned in one of his chapters that hatred breeds hatred, love breeds love. Just like how Shakuni breeded hatred among the Kauravas against the Pandavas, even his life was destroyed in the same way. He meted upon his own destruction by trying to destroy others' life. So that is why it is said that you don't breed hatred, you breed love. What you sow, so shall you reap. If you sow hatred, hatred things, that is not good things will occur in your life and your life will become miserable. So that is why you try to help people. Of course, this time I would like to quote Karna. Karna was a great man. what protected him at the last was the good deeds that he did. If he had not done that, he had to suffer a lot. But he didn't suffer a lot because of the good deeds of the nun Kodai. How much he gave, that all protected him. So the good deeds always protects a person. Rajaji has also mentioned that in the time of Mahabharata, women were highly honored and entered largely in the lives of their husbands and sons, because we could also say Gandhari, Kunti, Panchali, and many other women for that matter, Subhadra or Krishna's wives, Rukmini, Satyabhama. They have all made important decisions in their husband's life, in their son's life, and they have also played a major part just like the men. And we also have women fighters who have come and fought in the Mahabharata war, and great women people who have also preached many things in Mahabharata. It comes here and there. I would like to say one small part of it is mentioned in the Mahabharata written by Rajaji. It says student's devotion towards his teacher. So this is actually the story of Shukracharya's daughter Devayani and Brihaspati's son Kacha. Actually, Brihaspati and Shukracharya were the preceptors, the gods of the Devas and the Asuras respectively. Even though they had friendship amongst themselves, they had a slight amount of bitter relationship because they were on the opposite sides. We could say Shukracharya had the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra, that is, he had the power to regain life. If any person had passed away in the war, he had died in the war, Shukracharya had the power to bring them back, bring their life back. Because of which, no, the Devas had suffered a lot, because how many ever Asuras they kill, they go on multiplying, they go on coming back because of the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra of the Shukracharya. So their plan is they send Kacha, that is the son of Brihaspati, they send him to Shukracharya. You go live there, you go serve him as a Shishya, and you just steal the mantra from him and you come back. The Devas were wrong in ideology. Strictly speaking, one person who goes as a Shishya should always be true to his Guru. He should never betray his Guru. If he betrays his Guru, he will not get success in his life. So that is why Kacha, being the son of Brihaspati, goes to Shukracharya and serves him like a Shishya. He forgot what the Devas said. He forgot the to steal the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra. So he goes on. And the Asuras somehow get to know that Kacha has come here to steal the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra. But this was not the ideology that was present in his mind. They tried to kill him again and again. So what they had done is they had actually burnt him to ashes, pounded that ashes and mixed it with wine. And that wine they gave it directly to Shukracharya, and the Shukracharya had drunk that wine. Now Devayani says, my Kacha has gone. Even Devayani had a small love towards Kacha, which she had not openly said to anybody, but that love was within herself, and she wanted to express it at some or the other time to Kacha. But when she got to know that the Asuras had killed Kacha, she tells her father that she had loved uh, Kacha and she wants him to come back to life. Then Shukracharya, by his Jnana Drishti, he comes to know that he is in his stomach. Yeah, that is why I would like to say that Shukracharya gives a curse. Curse to whom? Curse to the wine, curse to the people who drink alcohol, that virtue will desert the man who, through his lack of wisdom, drinks wine and alcohol. Shukracharya had initiated the mantra of Mrita Sanjeevani to Kacha in his own stomach, and Kacha comes out of the stomach of Shukracharya, killing Shukracharya. Then Kacha uses the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra to bring back Shukracharya, and they all the three they live happily. So actually, this thought or this quote or this philosophy about wine and alcohol has been given in such a great fashion by Veda Vyasa, and that has been conveyed easily in a very good way by Rajaji to us. We could even say that Rajaji has described about Kunti very well. Kunti, as I had mentioned before, Kunti, the most virtuous mother, the worthy mother, one of a great woman to be remembered. Rajaji, or even Vedavyasa as well as Rajaji have explained about Kunti in a very good way. Rajaji, in his English words, he says that Kunti was a veritable embodiment of Dharma. Actually, once Kunti and Krishna had a small conversation. Then Krishna asked Kunti, you ask me any wish, you ask me any vara, you ask me any wish. Then Kunti says, you don't give me happiness. you give me sorrow. Then Krishna asks, are you mad? Why do you ask me for sorrow? Why do you ask me for misery? Kunti says, if you give me happiness, I tend to forget you. I tend to forget God. I tend to pray. I tend to forget to remember God and His name. But if you give me misery, if you give me sorrow, I will remember God's name at every moment. I will remember God's name at every instant. I will pray to God at every instant to make Him remove my miseries. And if you go on giving me miseries, I will always remember God's name, and that would lead me to the path of salvation. So this was Kunti's explanation given to Krishna, and this has been very nicely conveyed by Rajaji in his book of Mahabharata. So I could say Mahabharata in English has been written by other authors too. It has also been written by R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan, the famous author of Malgudi Days, he has also written Ramayana as well as Mahabharata. But actually I could say, since Rajaji was a more intellectual person, he was a more philosophical person, he was a statesman by himself, his book is more analytical and intellectual and philosophical. He says all the things that are required for us to lead a life. Whereas R.K. Narayan's book, we could say that it is an embodiment of creative freedom. He says the story, he narrates the story in a very good manner. He narrates the story in very good manner, especially children would love to listen those stories. But sadly, he has not included any philosophical statements. Rajaji has taken pains to include those philosophical statements, insights of dharma, because they are major part of the Mahabharata. Major part of Mahabharata is to implement that at least 70 to 80% in our life, so that our life would be better. The preachings of Bhishma to Yudhishthira and the preachings of Vidura to Dhritarashtra, that is also known as Vidura Niti. Vidura Niti has also been included in a very lucid manner by Rajaji in the last chapters. Preaching of Bhishma to Pandavas was actually the first part of Vishnu Sahasranama, which mainly speaks about statesmanship. It mainly speaks about how to handle a nation. So that could be implemented in our life, and we could learn how to handle a family with it. Could implement it in the entire world, and we could say the world is our own family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is one of the moral that has been conveyed by Rajaji through this great epic Mahabharata, I could say.